Okay, what you got is a piece of wood, 3/4 by 3/4 by 5 inches. And all I did was cut this at two 45-degree cuts and then two more 45-degree cuts at the opposite direction. So picture this wood up against a chop saw, just like it's sitting in the video picture. And I make a first cut, and that cut is going to be from your upper right to lower left, closest to the left. And what you're looking at is Coca-Cola, and I made that cut at a 45-degree to the left. You're going to have the scrap piece of wood on the right hand side. Hold on to it because you're going to re-glue it. Took a piece of Coca-Cola, glued it to the left hand piece at the 45-degree cut, and then glued the scrap back onto it. So now I have one continuous piece of wood. The white wood there, it's actually olive wood. So it goes olive wood, Coca-Cola at a 45 from upper right to lower left, and then olive wood again. Then I swing the chop saw back around and to the right, and I make another cut. So looking at the piece of wood on the left-hand side there, I cut it at a 45 through the center of the Coca-Cola. Then I laminate in a piece of bird's eye maple and take the piece that I cut off and re-glue it back together again. So take a look at the Coca-Cola. It's split or bisected by the bird's eye. Then I do it again. On the right hand side or in the middle there, I make another cut at 45 degrees in the original direction, so upper right to lower left. Inlay some more bird's eye maple, glue it all back together, and then I cut it again upper left to lower right and inlay Coca-Cola. It's really, really simple. You're probably going to have to watch this a few times to understand what I'm getting at, but all I did was make 4 cuts, 2 in one direction, 2 in the other, and I'd make a cut, I'd glue in a small piece of wood, glue it all back together, make a cut, glue in another piece of wood, make a cut, glue in another piece of wood, and you end up with this picture. Looking at them after they've been turned round, to me anyway, I'm kind of a simpleton, made absolutely no sense to me. So here's the round picture. Hope this helps. Okay, if you look at this piece of wood, the only thing I have done is cut it at 45-degree angles, twice in one direction, twice in another. Everywhere I cut the wood, I stuck a piece of Coca-Cola or just bird's eye maple, and then I glued them together back into a square. They're real easy to align because you can see the other side basically from where it's supposed to connect. Really kind of cool. Now, if you take a look at this, this is what it looks like turned down. I just kind of roughed this piece in. The white stripes are bird's eye maple, the brown stripes are Coca-Cola, and the actual piece I turned down here is from Jewelers olive wood. That's what it is. But I ran across a pen that had a Celtic knot in it, and I tried for the life of me to figure out how he did it. So I just started simple. I grabbed a square piece of wood, 3/4 by 3/4 by 5, chopped it at 45 degrees, stuck a piece of wood on it. I think I started with bird's eye maple, glued both pieces back together, cut it at 45 again in a different direction, Coca-Cola, went back to the original direction, cut it at a 45, glued it back together, and then went back and cut it at a different 45. So all I basically did was cut it at a 45, glued it back together. Oops, sorry fellas. Cut it at a 45, glued it back together, cut it at a 45, glued it back together, cut it at a 45, glued it back together, and you end up with this. It took me about 8 minutes. I didn't design this to hold together very well. I would never use it in a pen because I could snap it pretty easy. I just used super thin glue with some accelerator, which doesn't make for a very good bond. It fell apart on me twice on the lathe, but if you're wondering how they do it, that's how they do it. If you were to put this anywhere but center, these designs would turn out completely different. And of course, the further I take it down, the closer all these pieces get together. So if you want different designs, I think I figured out a way he did the knot Celtic knot is he did one at a 45 and one at about a 30. The next one at a 45 and another one at 30 or something to that effect. And then he turned it not on center and he ended up with a Celtic knot. It was really pretty. But I always wondered how they did this. Looking at the round object like this is right here, it never made sense to me. I couldn't for the life of me figure out how he did it. I figured he stuck that piece in, then glued this piece in. No, it's real simple. Really, really easy. Anyway, hope this turns a light bulb on for somebody.